So there's myths out there to say that it takes a long time to win a government contract. You gotta have you gotta have a relationship with the customer. You gotta it's a lot of gotta, right?
Hmm.
So you found this opportunity.
Hmm.
It was 2 days before it was due, right? You put together a response, you submitted it. From submission to getting the contract award email, how long did it take?
I don't remember. I would say maybe like 3 weeks, 2 or 3
Okay.
weeks.
So you found something
Yeah.
that was due in less than 2 days. You put together a
Hmm.
competitive response, and within 3 weeks, you got a contract award.
Hmm.
What relationship did you have with the customer?
I didn't know them at all.
They didn't know you at all?
Ashley Gant, Clinrova, pharmaceutical research, and I think that was it, right?
That's it.
Okay. Um, so so I tried to do government contracting with a different company that I had, and it was really mostly a thing that I realized should just be my hobby. So I kind of dissolved that company. And then this company that I started, I don't want to say it started by accident, but I essentially work like two full-time jobs right now. But one is the under my Clinrova name because in order to work on that job was a contract job and I had to have an LLC to get it. So I was like, well, since I already have an LLC, I might as well do more with it, right? I might as well. I was seeing some things on sam.gov. I was like, there's some opportunity here. I might as well do more with it. And this could be my out for not working a 9 to 5 anymore. And so I didn't know where to go from that. And then I was already following you. So I was like, let me just join the community and then see what I can do with this. Um, I have not responded to any solicitation from sam.gov. I actually was on a ARPA H. I like joined one of their calls that they had for something that they had going on. And they had a list of companies that like basically would like to partner with other people. So they basically did this Excel spreadsheet. And I literally went to every single person on that Excel spreadsheet and reached out to them and was like, this is my company. If you need help with your submission, blah, blah, blah. And from that, I actually formed four partnerships. One I'm meeting with again. They got the closest in getting the ARPA H award. They didn't get the award, but they got put into ARPA H's like like a repository where they can, still, pitch their idea.
Mhm.
I'm meeting with them again on Thursday because they have another idea they would like for me to be involved in. So that's kind of where it's at. This is my thing that I want to do when I quit my job. I don't want to be in it forever though. I want to hopefully can sell it in a few years and be done with that. Um, the I've also been reaching out to other people for partnerships. I don't really know. I'm not a good salesperson. So I'm trying to figure out how to be more, I don't want to say more salesy, but be more salesy. I don't know how to sell anything. I could literally not sell a bottle of water like the water boys. It's just, I'm not good at sales. So I've been trying that. One of the things that I realized in doing this recent submission that I did, and I actually had an interview with them on Friday and no Thursday, and they said they would get back to me Friday to let me know if I was in the top three. I was scared about it because I was like, "There's no way they're going to call me back." Because I literally, it was like a $3 million contract, and then I offered that if they wanted to do a 5 year, I would give a 10% discount. So I was like, they're not going to call me back, and they did, and they were supposed to let me know if I was selected for the second interview on Friday, but I didn't hear back. So I don't know. Let me know if you think I should reach out to them and see what's going on. But either way, I'll give them some time to respond. And I what I realized in doing the last submission was that I don't I feel like a lot of people don't know my name um, in the industry, and there's a lot of people looking for jobs, but they don't really know what they're looking for. And I feel like I really need the resourcing. What's been holding me back is that I don't have the people to do the job. So I, on a whim, went on one of these Facebook groups in my industry and was like, would anybody like to join a webinar next month to talk about the different roles within clinical research? And I got such a huge response. So I feel like that's going to build my pipeline. I'm going to like get my MailChimp together and tell them, subscribe to my email list or whatever so that I can like forward jobs to them when I have it. And so that I now have a database of people. So that's my next step, is to basically get my presentation together so I can do this. And when I had the conversation, I actually told the people this at OHSU, was the Oregon State, was the company that I just did the solicitation for, that I had the interview for. He was like, well, I would love for a lot of my team to join your presentation. So can you send me the link? So I realized now I need to tell more people about it to get them to join. Because apparently that's a problem they have, is that they have a staff augmentation problem, because people just basically, since COVID, people have been leaving. So, or they don't know where they fit in clinical research. So he would like to use for a lot of his organization to attend that webinar as well. So that's where I'm at. I'm really trying to just navigate my way through it. And it's, I shouldn't admit this, but I've just been responding to things as they come along. I feel like I haven't been as proactive because I don't have the time, and that's just where I'm at in my company, and that's what my company's about.
You've won a government contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you've won a contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess yes, a government contract. Tell me about that process from
Yes. So I don't know if you remember this, but you talked about RFP, Martin. You went through it on one of the morning calls. I was literally in my car, and I was trying to like listen to it because it was drop off time for my kids. So I was trying to listen to it, and then like it cut off like right when you were talking about something. I was like, shit. And so I went back and listened to it again where you were going through the RFP, Martin. And so I went through it and I found one at Clemson. It was literally like 2 days before it had to be submitted. So I'm telling you, like eyes red, like bloodshot. I got no sleep. I was like determined to get this like out, because I hadn't been seeing much in the industry anyway. So I got it out. I used your template, your proposal template, your RFP template, got it out, and they called me for an interview. I did that, and then they selected me. It's the contract is basically finding them clinical research studies, and they explicitly stated in the RFP that we get paid based on the deliverable. So basically, any percentage of a contract that they get, I would get a percentage of. I probably lowballed myself. I didn't know what to put. I put 15%. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I
that's
put it in there.
it's
Um,
better than zero, right?
I know. So I had all of this, I don't want to say BS, but fluff of ideas inside the proposal. And so I was like, yeah, we could develop a smart sheet. We could use this as a project thing. And then when the time came, I was like, I have no clue how to set up a smart sheet thing. So I had to hire somebody to do it. She's actually on my team and will help if I get this other contract with OHSU too. But so I had to hire somebody to help me do that. And I had a kickoff meeting there at Clemson. It went well. They literally took me to a couple of their facilities in South Carolina. We talked about it. And I've already, pitched them to about 25 different pharma companies, gotten some response. And I realized that I need to get a virtual assistant to help me with this. So today, I didn't get to it today. So tomorrow I'll do it. I'm going to do my SOPs and set up a Loom thing to show them um, how to find studies so that we can pitch it to them, because I think that would help. I think this is part of me building systems, because I feel like that's where I lack a lot. Like I work two full-time jobs, had two kids, got two businesses. Like I need like the help. So I I want to like basically get a virtual assistant from the Philippines to I'm
Jamaica.
gonna teach them how to do it, huh?
Try Jamaica.
Try Jamaica. I'm
Yeah.
gonna put that right. Jamaica. I'm in a women in real estate group too, and I was telling them this morning, and they gave me somebody from Colombia, but she was very expensive, so I can't do that. So I'll try Jamaica.
Yeah.
Get somebody to come and basically find these studies so I could pitch it to them, because I think that will help me a lot. So I can finally invoice them for something. And also I want to do a good job, right? I want to be able to use them as a reference too, right? They're not going to use me if I didn't give them any studies. So it was good, but I need to be able to do that. So that's that contract that I won.
So there's myths out there to say that it takes a long time to win a government contract. You gotta have you gotta have a relationship with the customer. You gotta it's a lot of gotta's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you found this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2 days before it was due, right? You put together a response, you
Mm-hmm.
submitted it. From submission to getting the contract award email, how long did it take?
I don't remember. I would say maybe like 3 weeks, 2 or 3
Okay.
weeks.
So you found something
Yeah.
that was due in less than 2 days. You put together a
Mm-hmm.
competitive response, and within 3 weeks, you got a contract award.
Mm-hmm.
What relationship did you have with the customer?
I didn't know them at all.
They didn't know you at all?
They didn't know me at all. They
Come
had never
on
heard my
now.
name.
Come on. Hey, listen, there's a bunch of people on the internet out there saying that you got to have a relationship and you got to have all this stuff right now. If I'm not mistaken, this was a prime contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was a company that you created from your thoughts, got it
Mm-hmm.
registered, did everything you were supposed to do, found an opportunity, and within 3 weeks, you won a prime contract.
Yep. Yep.
And you came into the community, took all the information. So let's talk about from the time you came in to the time you won your first contract.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take? Once you came into the community, how long did it take for you to win your first prime contract?
So I think from the time that I joined and the time that I submitted I think it was within the first month. I'll go back and look at the dates when I joined the community, but it was not long. It definitely wasn't more than 2 months since I joined the community that I did that.
Okay.
Um,
So within
I just
less
joined
than
as many calls that you had as I could.
so within less than 2 months, 60 days, you
Hmm.
won a prime government contract with no
Hmm.
relationship. You had experience in the industry, but you had no business experience with that particular thing.
Exactly. And
Um,
and I think the other thing I wanted to say too is that so I know that I've asked a lot about the references and experience and the past performance.
yeah.
Um, but this last contract that I submitted to, the one that I had the interview for, and it sounded like he was going to, I'll let you know if get selected for the second interview. But I had no experience, and they had like a whole reference worksheet, and they had something else. And I literally put in it, listen, I don't have any references. I'm a new company, but we've done the work before. We could do this. We talked about my experience later. He was like, you are so experienced in this. And he didn't even ask about the references again. Like it was nothing. I literally just wrote, we are committed to doing a good job. We have a quality process in place, but I don't have any past performance. I don't have any references. And I just basically said it and that was it. Like I just was like, I'm just gonna wing it and see how it goes.
That see, I've been saying this for so long, and some people still haven't grasped it yet. And I'm like, listen, when they're asking for references and you are a new company,
Hmm.
just say that, or just tell the truth and say, we don't have any business references, but I have 20 plus years in delivering on the scope of work.
Yeah.
Because whether you're a business or not, right? If you know the work,
Hmm.
you've done it inside out, you're considered to be a subject matter expert.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, they'll see an opportunity and then they immediately eliminate them own selves or disqualify their own selves because it says, oh, you need, 3 references or whatever, 3 past performances. And they're like, oh my God, I ain't
Yeah.
got it. I'm like, no, just go ahead and fill it out and just say,
Mhm.
this is a reference that when I worked in a position doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing cybersecurity or
Mhm.
clinical research, whatever, at a job, what's the difference between you doing the same type of work in your business, right?
Mhm.
It's a translation. So I'm glad that you said that because that's
Yeah.
so important. Because a lot of people on the internet, they always like to say that, oh, well, it's going to take 3 to 5 years because you need X,
Mhm.
Y, Z. When you're already proven that in 60 days, you got a prime contract.
Yeah. And
And
oh, sorry, go ahead.
And by just winning that one contract, you created a job opportunity for someone else. Because,
Hmm.
like you said before, you still have a 9 to 5. You
Mhm.
still have kids that you're raising, but you have this contract, right, that can grow, right, into
Mhm.
several contracts that eventually you're going to say to yourself, okay, I can't balance all this, but I'm going to
Mhm.
take this one because I need to feed into this one and grow it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you just mentioned too is that people look at it and say that they don't have the past performance or the references and they can't do that. I realized that early on that I was using that as an excuse too. Like I was looking at opportunities and I was like, well, I don't have the references or I don't know who's going to be able to do this. And I had to decide that I'm going to eliminate all of my fears about that. I had to eliminate the problems. Like the problem wasn't the problem. My problem was the making it the problem, right? So I had to like figure out ways to go. So that's why, so those are my two issues. No references and nobody to do it. And I already like squashed that reference one. Because I know I'm just gonna, put it in there and hopefully I'll have references moving forward. But the second piece is finding people to do the job. And that's why I'm putting on that webinar because I want to be able to build like this database. And even if nobody comes from that, they know somebody who's going to be looking, right? I mean, this is a Facebook community with like 70,000 people. Like somebody has to be it. So I'm just basically putting the word out and I'm offering to teach something to get something in return. And that's just building it. So I'm just trying to make all of those self doubts and those things that I said that I don't have from this process and just make it like not even an existent problem anymore. Um, because I think that's what was holding me back. I'm looking at it like, who am I going to get to do this? Nobody's going to do this on a contract basis. Nobody's going to do this full time. I don't have any money to hire like full time staff, so I can't
And
do that.
you see that, you see those thoughts came from somewhere, right?
Hmm.
And I'm glad you made that statement. So how much money did you need up front for this contract?
For the Clemson contract,
Yeah.
none. Just need my time.
Zero?
Well, I mean,
Wait a minute. Hold.
okay, so my business was already started.
No, 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 no,
Right?
no, no. Not to start your company. I'm talking about
Okay.
specifically for the contract.
I didn't pay anything to start that contract.
Whoa, wait a minute. So people on the internet has said that in order for you to win contracts, you're gonna need some capital up front. So you telling me that in 60 days, you came into a community, you submitted something, and 3 weeks later, you won a prime contract with no money, no experience, no business experience, and you were able to walk away with a prime contract. You didn't know the customer, and now you are submitting new opportunities in the same field, and you're already getting feedback from those things that you submit.
Yeah, no, I paid nothing out of pocket for anything. It's my time money that, I mean, my time, that's all I
Oh,
spent.
the community,
Yeah. Well, the community, I paid for the
you
community.
paid to
That's
come
it.
into the community, right? Okay.
Yeah, I paid to come in the
So
community.
so 79.99 was it, that
Hmm.
was it at the time? 79
Yeah.
99, right?
Hmm.
Allowed you or gave you the blueprint to win a prime contract with no money, no references, no relationship with the customer, and
Hmm.
you did all this in less than 60 days.
I did. I did. And
So
the only thing that was holding me up was me. Like there is no money problem that people may think about. It is no money problem. It's not an experience problem. It's not you don't know the people problem. Like the only problem is just not doing it.
right? Because what I often have to tell people, right? I have to tell people this all the time is that when someone puts something out online or
Mhm.
in a newspaper or whatever, right? That they need something, a solicitation, a bid, something. That customer is saying what? I have a problem.
Mhm.
I have a problem and I need subject matter experts to come in and help me solve this problem.
Mhm.
Yes. Do past performances, do those things help you out? Yes.
Mhm.
Does a relationship? Yes. Does, matter of fact, wait. I ain't even, I didn't ask you all the questions. I got one more question, right?
Mhm.
Did you need to be a minority business woman, veteran, certified company to win this prime contract in less than 2 months?
No.
We done broke all the internet rumors right now. All the myths have been broken. Jeez. right?
Did not need to do that.
You ain't need none of that stuff, right?
Mhm.
So you were able to do all this all because you mustered up the courage, used the resources, and you submitted.
Yeah.
That is that's the key. Like you
Hmm.
read the requirements and said, let me just tell them how I'm gonna help them solve their problem. This is how much it costs.
Hmm.
How much it's going to cost me to help you solve your problem, and they chose you, right? Out
Yeah.
of 400 million citizens in the United States of America, and I want to say there's around 10 million small businesses. Out of all the companies in this country, they chose you, someone who just started their company, just got into the space because they saw what you wrote in your proposal that you were going to be the best to help them solve their problem. That's it.
Yeah.
And you probably went up against some big companies.
Hmm. Yeah. They had a few people that they had already like vetted. They mentioned it to me, the companies that they did. And and it's funny because I was looking at their website and I was so intimidated. Like I'm looking at their website like, girl, you have no place for you right here right now.
No,
Like
no, no.
you
Yes,
don't
you
have what they
do.
have. Like
No, that's
I
you
felt that.
see, that's the thing that I want people to take out their brains, right?
Hmm.
So I used to go to in-person bid conferences, whatever, and I
Hmm.
would just hear people saying, "Oh, I'm not going to bid on this because so and so is here." And
Hmm.
I'm looking
Yeah.
like hell, I'm still going to bid it, right?
Hmm.
Because yeah, they may have all the resources, they may have all that stuff, right? But you never will know unless you do what? You just give them a clear and concise response and say, no, I'm your person.
Yeah.
And honestly, you're gonna come in lower in cost because
Hmm.
at this moment, you don't have a lot of overhead. You don't
Hmm.
have a lot of GM. So, and you're a little bit more flexible, right? To be able to deliver better than the bigger ones because sometimes they get they're just too big.
Hmm.
I tell people all the time with state and local, quasi government, educational institutions, hospitals, right? Those customers they love the ones who are willing to bid and fight and go after those opportunities.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if there was something in 60 seconds that you can leave people with, right? That's probably just like you, right? Was in a
Hmm.
position like I got to do something different. I don't want to quit my job, but I do want to start. I do want to win. I don't want to wait 3 years like the internet been telling people, right? What would you leave people with in 60 days for them to be where they're at to get where you're at today?
Yeah, I actually was thinking about this before the call, just on a random other thing, not about this, but I would say that you have to find the support. Get a mentor, join the community, get all of the information that you can get. You can probably do it on your own, but it's much easier, much faster if you find somebody that's done it before and you can get that support and know how to do it. Because I mean, again, you can do it on your own, but it's going to save you so much time if you go out and you find the support that you need to be able to do it. Because I don't think that I would have been able to done it had I not used your RFP template. I don't think I would have been doing it if I didn't use. I literally your rap rate calculator is like on my desktop, and it's like I'm going between it all day. Like I think that people should really get the support that they need to be able to do it because they're making up stuff in their head and thinking they can't do it because they don't have the support that they need to do it. And that's
Thank you
for
so
sure.
much. I'm glad you talk about the wrap rate calculator. You
Hmm.
know, we do, it is a software tool now.
Hmm.
I haven't published it just yet, still working out some bugs, but man, that wrap rate calculator is a beast thing.
I'm telling you, man. I'm just
Plug
like,
in, plug and play. All you gotta do. Because because as a business owner, right, your biggest threat, and I've faced this numerous times at being a business owner, it just cost.
hmm.
Your biggest threat is cost.
Yeah.
If you don't know what the hell something is going to cost you, you don't really have a business. You're just
Hmm.
winging it, right? So having that wrap rate calculator to say, okay, I'm gonna pay this person this labor rate per hour, but then I got all these additional expenses. I know that I need to be at here as far as costs. Now,
Yeah.
from that perspective, I'm able to add on 10%,
Mhm.
20%, 30%. Hell, if you a small company with less overhead, let me go ahead and get 50% profit off of this thing, right?
Yeah.
So um it works. That's why I like it so
Hmm.
much. You know if you want to go full time with people, how much benefits are going to be, how much, and now you can have a competitive edge over everybody because most people, I don't know, I really don't understand how people calculate costs. I think people just be like, well, they doing it for this much. Well, I'm gonna do it for this much. No, I don't work.
Yeah.
You gotta really calculate because I was on a call today and we were looking at some IT staff augmentation stuff.
Hmm.
And in the back of my head, we're going through the cost. And I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And they
Hmm.
were like, he was like, why? I said, cause I said, look at the profit on it. The profit is, I said, number one, the more people I add to my company, right? It's
Hmm.
great. It's beautiful. We're creating jobs, right? That's my whole mission in life is to create jobs. It ain't about
Hmm.
me. It's about how many jobs can I create, put money in people's pockets so they can take care of their families, get people off the street.
Yeah.
But on the tail end of it all, is it worth the headache?
Hmm.
Right? Because the more people you get, the more
More.
personalities, the more
Yeah.
characteristics, the more DEI, the more. So I'm
Hmm.
looking at it like, no, that's not worth the headache, right? So yeah, you got to understand your cost now, and also having that cost. And I wish I would have known this in my early business career. Is that forecasting.
Hmm.
You're like, okay, cool. I got 10 people on staff. We got this many contracts. You know what? It's time for me to go get an office space.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
okay, cool. We got this much profit. Boom, boom, boom. It's going to cost. It's like a cost benefit analysis that you can do
Hmm.
because you understand what's coming in, what's going out, what's surplus, what's extra. Um, so yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you brought that rap rate calculator. Yes, use the hell out of it. Okay,
I
use it,
have. I know
abuse it.
I when I submitted this last contract with this budget, again, it was like $3 million is what I proposed. And I told my daughter, I was like, $3 million. Like, what was I thinking? I used the calculator, I went through the task, I went through everything. And when I brought it up on the interview, because like a third of the cost was for this like management system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I brought up on the interview, I was like, well, the cost, because I'm worried about it still, like he's gonna like kick me, like I'm gonna outprice myself. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, it should be a third of which he was like, we're not worried about that. And I was like, should have did more than 3 million. He's like, we're not worried about that. And so yeah, I mean that's been like really helpful. And it also helps me to really understand the type of people I'm looking for, right? So like if I know that, this is what the cost will be, then this is like, for instance, on this one proposal, I needed to decide whether I was going to use an attorney for contract review or a paralegal. But I'm
Yeah.
looking at, I can look at the cost and say, okay, the attorney might be too expensive, but maybe I can use her for 2 hours instead of 8 hours a day, right? So, and I can have the paralegal do most of the job. So it helped me like write out the process for each task. Like a paralegal will do it, and then an attorney will review it. So it like that helped me a lot. Like looking at that rat rate calculator, figuring out what I could do to have a competitive bid in each task.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm super proud of you. Here we are 6 months later, not even 6 months, 4 months later, and you're already submitting $3 million bids and
Let
uh,
me tell
bringing
you.
on paralegals and lawyers and all this stuff. So that is super awesome.
Yeah.
Um, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your story with everybody. I will be dropping this because people need to see, they need to hear that, it's not what they say. It's all about honestly what you do, right? So you don't
Yeah.
need to wait 3 to 6 years to win a government contract, prime with no relationship. You can do it, right? And
Yeah.
that's why I'm such a big advocate for it because, you know, these locked in contracts, whether it's 12 months up to 5 years or 10 years, some contracts, I think I have one that's 10 years. I had to relook at the contract again. I was like, damn, we got it for 10 years, right? No matter what happens in the world, you locked in for a
Hmm.
5 to 10 year contract, that's revenue coming in for 5 to 10
Yeah.
years. So
Yeah.
and it's quiet.
Yeah.
It's a very quiet industry. A lot of people don't even know it exists. A lot of people scared to get into it, which
Hmm.
allows for people like me to have a little bit more. But no, I
Yeah.
want to be able to share this with everyone else and let them know, like, You
Mhm.
don't need all those things to get started to be successful in it, right? If you got focus, if you respond, if you use templates, if you have a mentor, like you said, they
Mhm.
can be just like you and win a
Mhm.
prime contract from submission to award in 3 weeks, right? So
Yeah.
I think the fastest I've seen someone is 1 week in
That's
GovCon
good.
blueprint. So you
Mhm.
almost beat them.
Almost.
You're like you're like number four as far as like
You
people.
should have told me that before, then I would have been more intentional about when I submitted.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see on the next one, right? So
Yeah.
usually, yeah, the fastest I've seen is like 1 week. But we're getting people that's being they're turning over faster,
Mhm.
right? And now on the federal government side, you're in the last 4 weeks of the fiscal year. So now
Mhm.
there's going to be a lot of dumping, even if it's a small contract. So I
Yeah.
champion you and I'm going to challenge you to like use that strategy
Mhm.
of reaching out to people at NIH, some of those
Mhm.
organizations, and just say, hey, my name is so and so, this is my company, right? And I'm talking about reaching out to the primes, program
Mhm.
managers, and we do stuff, and you got any opportunities that's less than $4.5 million that you want to sole source, I'm your person, right?
So let me ask you this then. I guess I have two questions, but my first one is for a challenge. Do you have any companies that have been or any mentees that have been in business for a year or less that have gotten more than $1 million in contracts?
Yeah, 5 million.
Dang it, I was gonna beat that one.
Yeah. Well, that was they were on a $5 million blanket purchase agreement.
Okay.
So it's a $5 million contract with a
Mhm.
ceiling of 5 millions, but whenever they need to buy off of that contract, they can go to that vendor or go to
Okay.
my mentee and do it.
Yeah.
Now, as far as like service wise, I
Mhm.
think the biggest one was 1.2 million.
Oh, I'm gonna beat that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
beat it.
so 1.2 million service wise. We got it's a few seven figures. It's about at least 13 seven figures. There's a lot, maybe over 30 people's high six figures, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, the beauty in all is that is like they're there. Like
Yeah.
I think in our so we got them broken down into how the opportunities come in, right? So
Mhm.
we got an email for federal government, we got an
Mhm.
email for state and local, we got an email for quasi, we got an email for commercial. And so
Mhm.
when they come in, because those notifications come in, and then once they hit the box, they get distributed out to who's ever in charge of that portfolio, and then we get to kind of look at. But I think we average on average a day about 469 emails
Mm.
across
But
those
good. Cool.
4 to 5
Mhm.
different areas, right?
Yeah.
That's daily. So that lets you know that there's plenty enough opportunities out there.
Yeah.
So, but
Oh, absolutely.
in your field, honestly, I'm gonna give you a gem before we jump off.
Okay.
You should actually take what you've already done
Mhm.
at that state university,
Mhm.
take it to the next one.
What do you mean?
Reach out to their department and
Uh-huh.
say, hey, I got a contract at this and this is what we do, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
They may look at that and say, well, we got funding. Can you do the same for us? Remember,
Yeah.
universities, they're in competition too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let them be in competition. You say, yeah, I can do it for you too.
Mhm.
Right. So now if you do that, just like wherever the state that you reside in, right? You know what? Let me go ahead and Google all the state funded universities.
Mhm.
Okay. It's 200. Let me go ahead and go to each of their departments that need the same type of services.
Mhm.
Send them an email, right? Send them your capability statement, send them your bio. Your bio is
Mhm.
is rich, right? So
Yeah.
send them all that stuff. And now if you send out 100, I guarantee you that you're going to pick up 15 contracts.
Yeah. I've been thinking about that. I'm gonna do that. And that's the part that I didn't mention too. I should have said this in my 60 seconds, is that the government contracting piece is great and this has been helpful. And I think that this will set me up for a lot of things to do. But I think also my business has gained like a new way or a new trajectory that I didn't think of, right? Because I reached out, literally, I had a call with this, it's an institutional review board called Advara. Very big name in the industry. I mean, they just won like $1 million contract to be the sole source of review for the NIH. And I mean, they're like if you're in clinical research, you know who they are.
Mhm.
And I reached out to them, and they're now wanting to partner with me on government contracting. I mean, and this is like a big name. This isn't like a little name. Like
Mhm.
everybody knows them. And I just couldn't believe it. I was literally shaking, like, okay, what do I do now? um, but I think that's the other piece of my business that I didn't really think that was going to happen, that I didn't count on, which was a pleasant surprise, is that
Mhm.
my business and partnerships has grown since being in this community and just kind of sitting on the calls and listening and taking some gems. Because I feel like these are things that I would have been too scared to touch on and would not have thought, like little me, like really taking it's like a two-person show, like getting a
Everybody, every
partnership with like this $1 billion company.
everybody when they get started goes through the same thing,
Hmm.
trust me, right?
Yeah.
But remember, as you grow, build the infrastructure to support it, right?
Hmm.
SOPs, processes, because eventually every contract that you win
Hmm.
should be somebody that you create a job for,
Yeah.
right? Because you're not going to be able to do both, right?
Absolutely.
Can't do both, right? So you got to like focus on, all right, we won a contract here, create a new job. Now
Hmm.
you're off to the next one. Now you're off to the next one. Now you're off, and you look up and you got 50 contracts doing the same work, right?
Hmm.
That's how you create an enterprise. And now you got, 50 people, being on it because everybody don't want to be a business owner. Some people just
Yeah.
want a nice job, right?
Hmm.
Which that's what America's all about, creating opportunities for other people.
Yeah.
So, Ashley, Mrs. Gant, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being an outstanding listener and mentee, right? And I know for a fact that, by the end of the year, I mean, we got a couple months left.
Hmm.
You're going to at least land about 3 to 4 more of these similar contracts because of your enthusiasm, because of your focus, because of your persistence. You're definitely going to do it. But just
Thank
remember,
you.
don't forget about your boy. I like I like really good high grade steaks. Okay, so don't
I
forget
got
about
you. I got you.
don't forget about the boy. You know what I'm
I
saying?
got you.
Take me to lunch a couple times, right?
I get, I got you. Cheesecake has great steaks.
I'm listen. My palate is not. I was in the military, so my palate does
Oh
not
yeah.
discriminate. I would do some cheap. This little appreciation. That's it. You just my little
I
Billy
got
Ball
you.
and stuff like that. But
I got you.
thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I appreciate you for dropping all the information. And everyone else, please make sure that you follow the description. You go to the description, click the links to learn a little bit more about what we do in GovCon Blueprint and how we help out other people and winning government contracts. Right, it's a vast industry, $1 trillion industry that I'm willing to share with the whole world because this is something that it's made me into the person I am today, helped me support my family, build my businesses, and I want people to do the same, right? So, Ashley, once again, I appreciate you. Peace.
Thank you. Bye.